So welcome guys to the Prestige Marques channel. A lot of you won't know me, but my name is Dominic. I'm usually with Steph behind the camera. I'm the owner of Prestige Marques and basically want to introduce you to a new segment on our channel, which we are going to call Everything You Need to Know. We're going to take you through some of South Africa's most rare and most special vehicles, show you some cool things, some quirks, and just give you a better understanding of what makes these cars special. And make you realize that in South Africa we still have many more special vehicles around. Yeah, this is a new venture for me, new venture for Steph as well, because Steph's actually also going to get in front of the camera from time to time. And yeah, we're just going to take you guys through the cars. So in this segment of Everything You Need to Know, we're going to take you through the history of the Mercedes-Benz 6x6 and in particular how they landed up in South Africa. It's a very interesting story. Everybody will tell you something different, but we were fortunate enough to sort of, if you want to say, get the story from the horse's mouth as to how these cars landed up in SA, and it's quite a unique story. Basically, Mercedes launched it for sale overseas, and there was a very prominent South African businessman who absolutely had to have one. He saw it launched, and it was just had to be in the garage. He approached Mercedes-Benz South Africa and expressed his interest, to which they said they can't help because the vehicle was developed for left-hand drive and it was only going to be built in left-hand drive. The problem with that is South African law doesn't allow you to import any left-hand drive vehicle after 95 and register it in the country. So Mercedes-Benz South Africa basically told the gentleman that they couldn't help. So he approached Mercedes-Benz in Germany to see if they would build a right-hand drive example for him so that he could import it into South Africa legally and have it registered in the country. But Mercedes-Benz Germany explained to him that tooling, development, production line, everything was already for left-hand drive and not right-hand drive. However, they did point him in the direction of Brabus, which is obviously a very well-known company for tuning Mercedes, restoring them, even doing resto mods on cars like the Pagodas. So it's a company with worldwide recognition. So the businessman went to Brabus and had a meeting with him, expressed his desire again for a right-hand drive 6x6, and they were more than happy to oblige. The only problem was that they indicated they had to sell a minimum number of 15 in order for it to be financially viable in terms of research and development, tooling, production lines, etc. So in the meeting, the businessman had asked Brabus how many they had sold already. Brabus indicated that they had 5 confirmed orders and that they would need another 10 in order to make it financially viable. The businessman wanted the car so badly that he took all 10. He bought every single one. So he bought the last 10 right-hand drives and got Mercedes-Benz in South Africa to obviously facilitate the import of the vehicles. The only condition was that they had to come with certain Brabus parts fitted to them as well, which is why you will find them usually fitted with a Brabus exhaust, a light bar on the top, the Brabus side sills. Some even came with the Brabus grille in the front. However, when the cars arrived, the owners did have the choice to either keep the Brabus parts on or to fit the original Mercedes parts back. Owner of this vehicle decided he wanted the original Mercedes grille up in the front. However, he still wanted the Brabus exhausts, the Brabus side steps, and the Brabus side entry sills. So that's the story about how they came into South Africa. There's obviously further stories about the man gifting them to his friends, etc., etc. However, that's very personal and we're not going to get into those details. But yeah, we're very fortunate that we have basically the biggest allocation of right-hand drive 6x6s in the world. When Mercedes-Benz launched the 6x6, nothing like it had ever been created. I mean, look at it. It's got 6 wheels. The brief from Mercedes was very simple. They wanted to create a vehicle that could go off-road and conquer any piece of terrain that the earth could throw at it. However, they wanted you to do it in complete luxury. If you look at the numbers on the Mercedes, it is absolutely insane. You have the 5.5 liter bi-turbo V8 making about 520 horsepower, 760 Newton meters of torque. You have 6 wheels. You have 3 axles. You've got 5 differentials. You have a built-in compressor with 4 air canisters as well. The numbers are absolutely mind-blowing. On first impression, it looks like a very big vehicle. It looks like a cumbersome vehicle. It looks like a car that's going to be hard to drive. Height-wise, you're sitting at about 2.3 meters. The width is about 2.1 meters, and the length is 6 meters. Now, those numbers sound daunting. However, it's only a meter longer than an X5, and it's only 10 centimeters wider than an X5. It's just the height that throws you off, and the fact that it is basically a pickup or a bucky, as we call it locally. Other than that, dimensions-wise, it's really not that big, and it's actually a very easy car to drive. So now we're going to take you guys through some of the mechanical aspects of the vehicle. I'm going to pop the engine bay first, so you guys can get a better view of that. So we've got the bonnet releases on this side. Very flimsy, actually. Feels like it's almost going to break. It's a G-wagon. You have to slam the door or else it's not going to close.
Yeah, the door sounds quite solid.
Yeah, it's got that old school G-wagon sound. So basically, from a height point of view, you can see how big the car is in terms of its height. I'm 6'1", 186. My chest is basically at the same height as the engine. The engine is pulled straight out of a normal G63, 5.5 liter bi-turbo V8. It's got about 520 horsepower, 760 Newton meters, and it runs through the standard Mercedes automatic gearbox. This taken directly from a normal G63 of the same era. So now we're done with the engine. I want to take you guys through some of the other parts. Again, for pure scale, you can just see how big and tall this car is. I actually almost battled to reach the bonnet, but we do get there. Again, it is a G-wagon, so you have to essentially slam it, or else nothing else is going to work. So let's go through the rest of the mechanicals. What really makes this car a true and great off-roader is the fact that it has 6 wheels. 6 wheels means you've got more traction. 6 wheels means you can put the power down better, and it eventually just gives you more grip. So we have 6 wheels, 2 in the front, 4 in the back. Each set of wheels has its own axle, so that means you've got a total of 3 axles. You also have 5 differentials that you can control from inside the cabin. Very easy, no levers to pull, simple buttons and simple switches. Like I said earlier, Mercedes wanted to make this a very easy off-roader. So we have 3 axles. The axles in the back are what we call portal axles. Phenomenal for off-roading. And if we look at the tires, it's got what's called a beadlock system. Beadlock system is very unique because you essentially have these individual beads all around the rim, and it basically secures the tire to the rim. The tire cannot come off without loosening each of these beads. So funny story, if you ever want to change the tires on these, you actually have to go to a truck depot and they will change the tires for you, because it's a similar system that was used on the obviously big Freightliner trucks. And it's a very tedious and time-consuming process. All right, so now we're going to take you through some other features on the 6x6. I'm going to crouch down for this one, and this is one of the most unique aspects of this car. Because of its height, you can really get underneath it and appreciate all the engineering. So basically, we have these black canisters over here, 2 on either side. What's very unique is that the car actually has a built-in compressor. The compressor sits in the back section here behind the rear seats, and you control it from inside the cabin again, or from various switches. Each canister is 20 liters in capacity, and it allows you to inflate the tires from virtually empty to practically road driving conditions in 20 seconds flat. You don't have to get out the car, you don't have to get your compressor and plug it into the cigarette lighter. You can do it all from inside the cabin. What's also very interesting over here is that you'll notice there is independent Öhlins suspension on every single wheel. Again, another reason why this is such a great off-road vehicle. Steph, I don't know if you can check this here, but if you see this big silver square canister at the bottom here, that's actually the extended fuel tank. Obviously, a car of this weight is going to use an immense amount of fuel. Environmentalists are not going to be happy. But the great thing about this car is that it's got enough ground clearance that if they do glue themselves to the road, you can just drive over them without hurting them. But it's got an extended fuel tank to a capacity of 159 liters. Also, again, all controlled from inside the cabin, which I'm going to show you a little bit later. You can switch to the auxiliary tank on the fly. You don't even have to stop. So another great example of some Mercedes engineering.
So they went with 159 instead of 160 because 160 would have just been too much.
I don't know, maybe it's just too much. Couldn't get that last liter in, eh? So one of the unique things about a 6x6 is that it's essentially a pickup truck or a bakkie or whatever you want to call it. So you've got this big sort of space area here, and we're going to just take you through it. So like everything on a G-Wagon, it's heavy and takes a lot of effort, but Steph, you can come around, you can check the area in the back here. It's huge. What's quite unique is the spare wheel usually sits in the center where you see those two rails. It mounts into there. So yes, you do get a spare wheel just in case you do damage one of the tires while you're off-roading. It does take a lot of the space. So what a lot of owners have opted to do is they take the spare wheel out and you're left with a vast volume of space there. A lot of the vehicles purchased have been kept on farms, funny enough. So it's not uncommon to see these cars in South Africa with a bench made in the back where people can sit and go and view the game on the farm. All right, so I think we're just going to cover some of the last unique exterior features on the car. Like we said earlier, the cars came fitted with a lot of Brabus parts from Germany. And one of the unique parts that they came with were the side sills. You can actually see the Brabus logo over there. But the best is just the exhaust. It is a Valvetronic exhaust and it's operated via the steering wheel. So you can close the valve and you can open the valve. It just makes this thing sound so mental. I mean, if you take into consideration the car's size, its color, this one being gold, obviously, the V8 and the Brabus exhaust, this car is just absolutely incredible. It gets so much attention on the road. There is no Ferrari, there is no Lamborghini or Porsche that can get as much attention as this car on the road. So even getting into the 6x6 is an absolute event. So side step really helps. I'm not that old and I need it already. But you get in and then you're just met with that amazing old school G-Wagon door. You have to really slam it. Can't get upset with your wives on this one because they have to slam it to close the door. Inside, a beautifully appointed cabin. It's basically straight out of a normal G63 AMG. It is covered in leather everywhere. The interface is all from a normal G63. The seats, also G63, and the steering wheel. It's really just a special place to be, and you really do enjoy just sitting in here at an elevated position, watching over the road as you cruise along. So basically we've covered the interior of the G-Wagon, and we told you guys about a lot of the external mechanical features, like being able to deflate and inflate the tires from inside the cabin, as well as the auxiliary fuel tank. So you basically have this command center up here, which is really cool, and it's positioned in a great place. Let's start off with the tire pressure system. You have two gauges over here. One set is for the front tires, the second gauge is for the rear tires, and you have two sets of arrows as well. The arrows on the left will control the tire pressures in the front, and the arrow on the rear will, on the right hand side, will control tire pressures on the rear. Very simple system to inflate the tires. You would lift that up, typically, you would put it on. However, the car has to be running in order for the compressor to work. Once the canisters are full, you simply push the up button if you want to go up, and you push the down arrow if you want to deflate the tires. On top of that, we have our auxiliary fuel gauge over here, which is controlled by the switch on the right here. And Mercedes are very handy. Put a little sticker over here from the factory to let you know what the tire pressure should be. So now we are in the back seat of the 6x6. Ultimately, this is the place you always want to be. Driving the car is really cool and it's a fantastic experience. However, the back seat is just where the magic happens. Not like that though. So each seat has individual lumbar control. You can control the wings on the side to either grip you or loosen you. They are heated, they are ventilated, they've got a memory function. But what's really cool in the back here is that it's just two. It's a limousine style seating. So you're not cramped with a third party in the middle, and the space in the back is just absolutely incredible. So guys, that's our first episode under the belt. A bit nerve-wracking being in front of the camera, but I think we couldn't have picked a better car to start it off with. If you're enjoying this kind of content and you want to see more of it, please let us know in the comments. And if there are any cars in specific that you want us guys to take you through, let us know. We've got access to pretty much all the great cars in South Africa, and there's no use them hiding away, being parked in garages and basements and our storage facility. Let's pull the cars out, let's educate you guys, and let's show you guys some of the really special stuff we have in the country. If you've enjoyed it, let us know, and let us know what cars you'd like to see us feature in the future. Thank you guys. Have a great day.